Welcome to the Heart for God podcast. With many years of experience pastoring and helping to start churches, Dr. Jim Townsley has some practical and biblical advice that can be a great help to you and your ministry. On this podcast, Dr. Townsley and other guests with special expertise cover a variety of topics. His goal is to help you lead your church to be a healthy, strong, and balanced ministry, and for your family to be happy, healthy, and living for the Lord.
Hey, thanks for joining us today to the Heart for God podcast. And I have with me today a newfound friend, and I really appreciate the work he's doing here in Brazil. And so this is Tim Barrett, one of the Barretts among many that are in Brazil. Yes. So Tim, tell me a little bit about you and your family and how you ended up in Brazil.
Sure. Thank you, Pastor Townsley. We enjoyed meeting you this week, and you were a real blessing to all of us missionaries. Thank you for coming and encouraging us.
Great.
We really enjoyed your messages, telling us to be faithful, continue doing the work that God gave us to do. We can't win the world, but we can do what God gave us to do, like you taught us these days.
Yeah. So
thank you so much. And we're the Barretts in Brazil. I always say if the Lord calls you to Brazil, just grin and bear it. Okay? I'm a second generation missionary. I think I'm a fourth generation in the ministry. My grandfather was a pastor on my mother's side, and my great grandfather too. And my parents came to Brazil in 1976.
Okay.
So that's over 50 years now. Just about 50 years.
You know, even though we've never met, we have a lot of common friends and relationships.
Yes, amazing.
It is amazing.
Our Christian world is a very close-knit family in a way. You know, we're so far away. But
you have a connection to Pennsylvania.
We do.
And tell us about that.
Yes, my mom's father, my grandfather, he was a pastor in the American Baptist Convention. And he, in the 50s, he took a stand on God's word. And he was already in his 40s when he took this stand.
Okay. Wow.
I remember Brother Bob Bevington telling me he hadn't seen a man older like that change so much. And he became an independent, fundamental Baptist preacher.
Amen.
And he lost everything. He lost his retirement. He lost, he was part of the establishment, American Baptist Convention. But he started refusing their material that was coming in and their Sunday school material and everything. Finally, they brought people in and were able to kick him out. And when they finally were able to get enough votes, people that weren't even in the church anymore, but they finally were able to kick him out. And one woman clapped and said, "Oh, finally, I was tired of hearing, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God."
Wow.
And that was in the 50s. So he left then the American Baptist Convention and started, he left with a faithful remnant, faithful Christians that came with him, and he started the Emmanuel Baptist Church in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And so he was pastor there for a number of years, and then he went to be with the Lord. And from that church, several people have gone out as missionaries and pastors around America and the world.
So was Everett Bixler the next pastor?
That's right.
Yeah.
After my grandfather passed away, then Everett Bixler came as a pastor. And so then his son, then David Bixler, was pastor there until last year when he went to be with the Lord. Yeah. And then now his grandson, is James Bixler.
Yeah.
And James Bixler was at our camp last year, our family camp. And so we had a camp, the theme was from generation to generation.
In Brazil.
Here in Brazil,
yeah.
Yes. So he came and a group from his church. And now we're with his sister, Brother James Bixler, Sheila, and her husband, Pastor Snowd, and a group from Lifeway Baptist Church there around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and of course we've been so closely associated with the Bixlers all those years. Our kids were the same age.
Wow.
And so that's really amazing, the connection. And we never met.
I know.
I've heard your name, but it never.
I just imagine how heaven's going to be when we all there together. How it's going to be wonderful to see all these connections, and we're just a big family, actually, in the Lord.
Yeah, yeah. And so how many Barretts are in Brazil right now?
Okay, so Dad and Mom came with my sister, my older sister, Lisa, and I. You met Lisa, but you met the Brazilian pastor that's here. His name's Josias.
Okay.
Josias.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah, he's my brother. He married my sister, Lisa, my older sister, Lisa. And he's a pastor in our ministries there. And I married his sister, Lydia. So brother and sister married brother and sister.
Wow.
And so we two came with Dad and Mom originally. And then there were two more sisters born in Brazil, and my brother David, who you met these days too. And so they're all serving the Lord, all the kids and the in-laws, and now the grandkids are serving the Lord. So I have another sister. She's married, and her husband's just a faithful man in our church, serves the Lord. And I have another sister who also were in our main church in our city of Jundiaí, São Paulo, the state of São Paulo. But they had to go to the States because their son had autism, so they went to get help there in the States. But they're serving faithfully in the New England area, believe it or not.
Wow.
They're being witnesses there and winning Brazilians to the Lord, actually, up there. So, and then my younger brother, the baby of the family, is my brother David, who's also a missionary here in Brazil.
Wow.
And then my son, Stephen, he wasn't able to be with us at conference this week because they're going to have a baby any day now. But my son's a missionary with BIMI also.
Yeah.
Stephen and his wife, Abigail. She's a fourth-generation missionary from Mexico. But my son stole her and brought her to Brazil, served here in Brazil. And then my other son you met also, Michael, he is self-supportive. He teaches English, but he serves in the ministry with us. And
plays quite well, too.
Oh, yeah,
plays the piano,
And he helps with the music with our young people. And then my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, they're also serving the Lord in the church, the main church there. So so that's basically our family. Yes.
Now, it seems to me like there's a lot of pastors in the States that their children aren't following. They're not in the ministry. Maybe they're saved, but they're not as committed or following the ministry. What do you think the key was that you see so many in your family from your parents' influence that have gone on and their grandchildren serving the Lord?
Yes, I'm not saying that others don't do this, but I'm just saying, like, from our experience, how it's been.
Yeah.
Our parents, they were just, of course, real. We just knew that they loved the Lord, and they were in it for the long haul. We came to Brazil, and our parents, they made this our home. And they never made it like, oh, we're missionaries and we're suffering for Jesus. To the contrary, we just made this our home, and we didn't live like one foot here and one foot in the States. It's just like, this is where the Lord called us, and we just enjoyed life. Yeah. We enjoyed serving with them. They always included us in the ministry. And
so what did you do? When did you start doing things?
Well, I was leading the singing when I was 12 years old. From a young age, because the church was, of course, younger then, a younger church. And so we were, from the beginning, we were serving the Lord with them.
Yeah.
Now, my dad went home to be with the Lord in 2021. He got COVID.
Wow.
Yes, and he was healthy, strong, serving the Lord still. He would walk every day, but COVID got him real bad, and the Lord saw fit to take him.
At the same time, my father was taken with COVID.
Oh, really?
Same year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Boy. That was January 2021.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a terrible time during the pandemic.
Brazil really, of course, all over the world, but it was really tough around here.
Yeah.
The socialist government, they really were on churches, and it was a hard time. But thank the Lord, our church and our ministries got stronger than ever. Even after my dad passed away, we thank the Lord. There have been people in our church who felt called to the ministry after my dad passed away. They just felt like they had to step up.
Yeah.
And the Lord used that. So it will be worth it when we get to heaven, to eternity. We'll see what the Lord was doing through all this. Even my son, Stephen, he was completely active in the ministry, but after his grandfather passed away, he really felt the Lord dealing with his heart. And he said, well, my grandfather went. Now it's my father. I'm next, and he stepped up and felt like the Lord was calling him to go full time into the ministry. So the Lord uses all that for His glory.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Now, how many churches have you been involved in, and how long have you been here as far as yourself being the missionary?
Yes. I joined the mission BIMI because I was already serving. I was self-supportive. I would teach English, but I would be helping in the ministry and everything. So we have the main, but I joined the mission in 2002.
Okay.
2002.
24 years.
Already? Wow.
Yeah, 24 years. It was 2002. It's 26.
Yeah, that was a year after 9/11, right? 2001? Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's unbelievable. I wouldn't think of that long.
Yeah.
But so we have the way, like I think you even mentioned these days, there are different ways of doing the ministry. What we do, we have the main church. We call it the main church, the first one that was started. And then we have our Bible Institute where we train, Brazilians. Yeah. And we've trained pastors. We have several pastors that came out of the institute and missionaries now too. So we, and then from the main church, we started, this was some years ago, we started a church way up north of Brazil. It was about 4 hours from us. My brother-in-law and his wife headed that, but our church was completely behind that. Bought land for them, and we take teams up there to help them build and also do outreaches and everything. Uh-huh. And then in our city, now we have two other churches. The two extremes of our city, way up north in our city and way down south in our city, and then the main church is sort of in the center of our city. So we have three churches there in our city of Jundiaí.
Okay.
And our goal is what we're working on is we have cities around us. It's actually called, our city is the city of Jundiaí. It's a city of 500,000 people. And we're the only independent Baptist churches there. Yeah. And there's like Convention Church, and we have cities around us that have no independent Baptist church. I have a map here that I look at. You can even see it. Okay, there's our city of Jundiaí.
Yeah.
And then these cities around us of 123,000, 120,000, 60,000, 71,000, no independent Baptist churches.
Wow, and a lot of people.
At the moment, right now, we have a city, it's an hour away from us. We have a family that comes every Sunday. Uh-huh. They arrive Sunday morning. Yeah. They're for Sunday morning service. They spend the day with us, stay for the Sunday evening service, travel back. So this family lives there. It's a city called Salto. And there's another young man in our church who's getting married to a girl in our church, and he found a job up there. So we're going to have two families up there. So our next step now is to start a ministry up in that. It's about an hour away from us. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
Wow. Yes. I think that's tremendous. And I think your Bible Institute is so crucial to what you're doing too, because you can't send them away to the States and get trained because they won't come back.
Exactly.
And it's hard to have a Bible college here to have enough support to do it.
Yes.
So it's got to be a big burden, but I think it's just something you have to do to train these people.
Yes, we always felt the need. We had to train them. Like if you send them away, like you even mentioned in one of your sessions here, a lot of times you send your students away and they never come back, And so we decided we'll train them here. And so we have our Bible Institute. We've had several groups already who've graduated from this. And we have pastors like in the church in the north of our city. It was a pastor who we trained in our institute, and we've ordained several pastors from our institute. In different places in Brazil, we have pastors that were trained in our institute. And then right now we're getting ready to send off missionaries to Colombia.
Wow!
And they're also, the wife is finishing now, but the husband already graduated. So
will they just learn the Spanish when they get there? Do they already know the Spanish? Because there is a difference in the Portuguese and Spanish.
That's an interesting story, actually. The wife, she is from Colombia.
Oh.
And she joined, BIMI has a yearly trip. It's actually several times. Brother Sean organizes it. It's Amazon Connect.
Yeah.
So a man from our church, a young man from our church, went to help in this Amazon Connect. And this girl from a fellow BIMI missionary in Colombia went to this on this trip too. And that's where they met.
Wow.
So then, but he already speaks Spanish very well.
Oh, okay.
And he's very good with languages. He speaks English well, Spanish. And so they just felt a burden to go back to her country, which has it's very needy also, of course.
Yeah.
Every place is so needy, but she said there are cities without, of course, any church. And Brazil, if they stayed in Brazil, there's a need here too, but the Lord directs everybody differently. So that's how they met. Right now, they're helping in our church in the north of our city because there are a lot of Spanish-speaking people there. All these Colombians started coming in the neighborhood. So they went up to help with that. They're trying to reach Spanish-speaking people in our city.
So in Brazil, there are Spanish-speaking sections or...
Yes, actually, it's something new in our city. We haven't had that before. A lot of people are coming from Colombia, and they're right in this neighborhood where we have our second church.
Wow.
So they're there helping now in that ministry.
Now, you obviously speak very, very good Portuguese. Would you consider that your first language since you grew up here?
I would think so, yes. I actually, what happens is all my ministry has been in Portuguese. All my speaking, public speaking is always in Portuguese. Bible verses I have in Portuguese. So growing up like this with two languages, basically you have one language.
Yeah.
If you grew up speaking two languages, if you would see like a scan of your brain as you're talking, both languages are coming from the same place.
Okay.
If you learn a language later in life, you have to have a whole new section of your brain for that new language.
Okay.
And when you grow up speaking two languages, it's as if you have one language.
Oh, really?
So sometimes I don't know if I'm speaking English or Portuguese or what. And they say sometimes you have, which is my case, you almost have a slight accent in both languages.
Really? That's interesting. Wow.
We're considered third cultural kids. So a lot of times you have a slight, sometimes, not always, but some Brazilians will detect a slight accent in Portuguese, and Americans detect a slight accent in English.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if I have a completely different language of my own.
Yeah.
So.
But of course, culturally, the language, you have a perfect grasp of Portuguese, the cultural part of the language.
Yes, and especially like preaching and public speaking.
Yeah.
I've done it all my life in Portuguese, so that's my language that I prefer to speak in.
So do you have any good stories about being on the mission field, growing up on the mission field? I'm sure you've had a lot of experiences, but any unique things that have happened while you're here?
Oh, we've seen everything.
Any snakes or animals or?
We've had all kinds of things. We live in the city now, but there was a time when we lived just 5 minutes from the city. It's part of the city, but it's out from the main area.
Outskirt. And
so we've had chickens and geese and rabbits and dogs and all kinds of things. Parrot. I had a real nasty parrot that hated women. And, he would any woman that would pass by, he'd jump on her and start laughing because they'd be screaming and running.
Yeah.
He raises his wings and just start laughing like women would, real nasty.
Oh my goodness! Wow!
And as he would scream, running off. And so I had a parrot and things like that. But we had to leave that place because we were robbed then. And actually, the man would almost pay us to live out there. But we found out why after, because it was dangerous. We were out there kind of without any neighbors. It was wonderful because the young people would go out every Saturday, spend the day. It was real nice. This was when I was a young man, late teens.
Yeah.
But so we were coming back from church one day, and they were waiting for us. We lived there, and then another family of our church lived in a little house connected to us. And as we arrived, this gang came, and they met us at the gate, and with guns and everything. And so I was driving the car in, and Dad came up, and they approached him at the gate. And so he was coming down with guns pointed at him with his arms up in the air, because he said he was from the generation of Hopalong Cassidy and Cisco Kid. Reach for the stars.
Yeah.
So he came down. So we were all walking with the guns pointed at us, and he looked around. He was the only one with his arms up in the air. And so he slowly put his arms down. And they were a pretty nasty group. They had killed people before, we found out later. And
Wow. That's
so they put everything that we had of value in our car in the house. They had us lying down with our face, on the floor, but they took my dad off to the bedroom, and they put a gun to his head and said, "Where are the dollars? Where are the dollars?" And my dad would tell churches when he was back on furlough, at that moment he thought, when I get back to the States, I'm going to ask the churches, where are their dollars? We had no dollar. And they knew we were Americans. See, that's the problem. And then they wanted my mom's jewels, but she had no jewels. They were kind of disappointed. So they filled our car with everything they could find, in the house, the electronics or whatever. And then they wanted to lock us in a room, but they couldn't find any room that locked. It was just like a farmhouse. So, and we weren't sure if they were going to kill us at that moment, because we were. And
you were young at that point.
Yeah, I was late teens. Yeah, probably 19 at the time. And and this man that was with us from our church, they yanked our water filter from the kitchen, going to rob everything they could. And so we heard this water gushing. He thought, oh, they're making noise so they can shoot us, without anyone hearing. But so they put us in a bedroom and said, y'all don't leave here. If you all call the police, one guy said, I'm a minor. And here in Brazil, if you're a minor, you can do anything. You can rob, kill, and you won't even go to prison. Basically, you'll be walking the streets in months. And he said, I'm a minor. If you call the police, I'll come back here and I'll shoot each one of you one by one. So then they left. They cut the power line and the telephone line. So when we heard our car driving off with all our earthly possessions, we had a Pentecostal praise time. And we were just praising God for being alive. We didn't care about any of our possessions. But an interesting thing, we left then walking, and we were afraid to go. It was all dirt roads, but we were afraid to go through the main road. We thought, what if they're there somewhere? So we went through a back road, and we got to some homes, and then we called people in our church, and they picked us up. And then we came back with the police. Well, as we were coming back, there was a bridge that would go to where we lived. Only one car could go through at a time. And the police were talking on the radio and everything, and something was going on. We didn't know what it was, but when we got there, there was a car stopped there right at the bridge with all the doors open. It was our car with everything inside of it. And it was stopped, and with the doors open, everything in it, as if they saw something, they ran off scared. And the police had no idea what happened.
Wow.
And the one police officer was very impressed. He said it almost seemed like, he said to us, it seemed like Moses crossing the Red Sea here. We got everything back. Nothing was taken. So that was an interesting, that's an interesting
scary
story.
moment.
Yeah, we have others of those too, but
that
was one of them.
Well, I really appreciate what you guys are doing down here in Brazil, and it's I'm just amazed and grateful to see the work here, and certainly want to keep praying for you. And maybe there's somebody listening that might feel that burden to come to Brazil.
Amen.
And we need more laborers, right?
After the stories I told, it might scare somebody, but it's the Lord's kept us safe all these years, and we've learned how to live with things like that. But praise the Lord, we're just so happy here in Brazil. It's such a wonderful country, and wonderful people. They're open to the gospel.
Yeah.
You have to learn the culture. They don't like to offend you. They don't like to, they're very accommodating, but that doesn't mean that if they say they're coming to church, you're going to come to church. But it's a country that's wide open to the gospel, but it's such a needy country. People say, wow, Brazil has a lot of missionaries. It does not. I mean, you can go. São Paulo is a city of the greater São Paulo area, 22 million people, and you can go for
it's just mind-boggling.
miles and miles.
It's all spread out.
No independent Baptist church. I mean, we have a family in our newest church that my brother's heading there in the south of our city, and this family comes from São Paulo because they have no church, and they come to our church there.
Wow.
So it's a very, very needy country.
Well, thank you very much for doing the interview.
Thank you very much.
And folks, thanks for listening today. God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, consider sharing it with a friend. You can also follow at Dr. Townsley on Twitter or on Facebook at Jim Townsley.